So the other day, I saw a post in a Facebook group that I responded to, and my response, a lot of people were saying it was really helpful. So I wanted to record a video and just post it on my social for anyone else who might find it helpful too. So the question was, it was a woman posting in a mom's group, because I'm in like 100 moms groups, saying that she feels really overwhelmed with life, just really overall, just as a mom with work and all the things, but like she has this health goal. She wants to lose weight, she wants to get healthier, but she's like, I just don't know how anyone is doing it. Like, does anyone have tips? So people jumped in and said different things that were working for them. And I shared 5 things that have been super helpful for me, because as most of you know, I've had a really, really consistent healthy lifestyle now for like over 10 years, when at one point I did not. I have shared this before, but like I used to sleep through shifts and sleep through classes and like all the things the only thing I was consistent with was not being consistent, but now I am. And that has been through, sicknesses, through traveling, through vacations, through all of the life things. Like 10 years, I mean, you deal with most of the life things through like 3 different moves. So that I say that to say that there is a way to do it always. There's a way to do pieces of it always. We just have to find what works for us, and we have to make sure that we're started with the right mindset. And that is tip number 1, is we have to evaluate how are we thinking about it. And I know a lot of you are rolling your eyes and you want to click off this video, but don't do it, because that is the hardest part. And that's why most of us don't do it. But we have to get our mind right if we're going to take any of the actions that are going to get us results. So that's the first step, is you got to take a look at, what are you saying? How are you thinking about all of this? I can't do it. I'm too overwhelmed. It's not going to work right now. Well, that is going to get us exactly where we are right now. So we have to identify what is that thinking, and how do we want to be thinking about that? And we have to actually practice that. The second thing I would say is, I keep everything extremely, extremely simple. We have to be okay with good and not gourmet. So what I mean by that is, we have to decide what is our priority: to have gourmet meals at every single meal with these fancy sauces and fancy recipes that are going to take us forever to find, and then get the ingredients and then cook. Or is our priority to just eat healthy, whole, clean food most of the time? I know for mine, it's the latter, but I know for some of you guys, it is not. And if you're listening to this, you may know I'm talking to you. And that's okay, but you gotta ask yourself, what is your true priority? And then you have to decide and remind yourself, when you're trying to overcomplicate things, it doesn't have to be that complicated. And when I say keep it super simple, I've shared with a lot of you before, like the way that I plan my meals, my week, is I look at how many dinners I'm home for. 5, great, 5 proteins. Any 5 proteins: chicken thighs, chicken breasts, ground turkey, ground chicken, beef burgers, steak, whatever it is. Pick 5 proteins if I'm gonna be home for 5 dinners, and then I pick 2 sides for each, and I buy them. That is literally what I do. Then if on a Wednesday I have extra time and I have chicken and I have these vegetables, I Google a recipe. But I do not go any crazier than that, and you don't have to, but you can if you want. But it is gonna add another level of complication that we don't always need, and it can hold us back. The third thing that I would say is, I love to have rotating meals that I make all the time, because it takes a lot of that guesswork, it takes that decision fatigue out of it, and you already know that you can just go to the fridge and grab the things that you buy every week and make these meals. Now for me, some of the things are like roasted salmon and vegetables, grilled chicken and vegetables. I always just roast in the oven with olive oil seasonings, put it on the grill, and it's like good to go. I've been really liking making like a whole chicken. I do a super easy marinade, put it in my air fryer, and it's like, I don't have to do anything else. And then I boil the bones. Sometimes, a lot of times I just end up throwing them out, but I have the best intentions. And then I have chicken broth too, if I end up doing it. So having those rotating meals that you can use every week and don't have to come up with something to cook every single week can be really helpful. And also for breakfast and lunch, I do the same thing. I literally have like 2 lunches I rotate through and 2 breakfasts I rotate through. I can hear some of you guys saying, that's so boring. How do you eat the same thing? What is our goal? What is our priority? Is it to not be bored, or is it to have a healthy lifestyle and not add extra overwhelm and confusion to our life? You got to decide. And then the fourth one is, I have things I call make it work meals. And those are things that we can always have staples on hand to throw together in under 15 minutes. And for me, smoothie is always a go-to. I can have protein powder in the pantry, I can have frozen fruits to add to it, and then I can use water if I don't have any non-dairy milk to add as well. So that's one example. Another one is, I always used to make like this like black bean bowl. So it's a canned protein that I could always have on hand, frozen veggies that I roast in the oven real quick with some olive oil and seasoning. I do a cauliflower rice. I put the black beans on it, some coconut amino, some hot sauce. If I have like a creamy sauce of some sort, I'll add that. and I'm good to go. There are so many different variations of that just based on what you like and what you go for, grab anyways, that we can decide like what are some make it work meals for you that you can have when you have no time that will keep you out of that drive-through. And then the last thing is, even if your schedule is really tight and sometimes you do have to, not have to, but sometimes you do order takeout or go through a drive-through, there are always better options. We know this. We just sometimes don't want to choose them, or we use that as an excuse to just have whatever we have, which is okay, but don't use it as an excuse. Just decide that that's the choice that you're making. But one thing I always like to say is we eat anyways. We are putting food into our mouth anyways. It does not have to add an extra level of complication or overwhelm or time to just make better choices. When you're going somewhere, choose a salad with protein, or at least focus on protein and getting some veggie in with whatever you're having. We are eating anyways most of the time. And guess what? Fasting could be a useful tool too. So I guess all of this to say is that we can look at it in a different way too, and that can be really helpful. We can decide that we want to look at it differently, and that is going to change the way we feel about it, the things that we do, and the results that we get. So if you guys have any questions, drop them below. And one other one I thought of is we don't have to do everything overnight. We don't have to go from 0 to 100 overnight is what I was trying to say. We can, small, simple changes are usually the sustainable ones. So you can start by asking yourself the question, what can I do? What do I have time for? There's always something we can do. There's always something we do have time for, whether it's the small little things, like we feel like it's so silly when people say, take the stairs, but like that is how you start. That is how you start building that momentum, building that consistency. We make a decision that we're going to be 1% better than we were yesterday, that we're just going to start doing some of the little things we know we could be doing. Maybe we're having, 2 servings of something, we can have 1 instead, and that doesn't take any more time. It's just a decision that we're going to do. So what are the simple, small things? Start as small as you can that don't feel overwhelming to you, and start building that momentum, building that consistency, and then add on from there.